Gotcha.
So
So the topic was your spiritual practice is your everyday life. So talking points.
spiritual practice is my everyday life.
Yep. You start integrating what you want. You don't forget any part of yourself. Start with the small things like one meal at a time or one workout at a time or trying to find like something that you find joy in.
Uh-huh.
And then that's doing the work. So when is the last time that you connected to yourself? So that was what I got out of my little reading from this morning.
Okay.
And I guess I'm
So
already
do you
starting to
want
do
to
that.
lead it and kind of follow since you have this stuff in front of you?
No,
Or
this is just us practicing because I don't have like the coursework. This was just like a topic that I thought would be kind of cool just to kind of explore because
okay.
that's what I feel like we're doing. Like when people are trying to, well, I guess this is part of like getting out of the matrix, right?
Uh-huh.
Is you start noticing things, like noticing if you're happy or not happy, or noticing if you like your job or you don't like your job or your partner, or, and that's why it gets so difficult is it touches every aspect of your life, but that's part of it. It's like you choose one aspect maybe that you want to work on, but it's still the leeching onto you happens from all these different perspectives. That's why it's so hard to get out, is because it not only has your daily routine, it has your spirituality or your religion, right? So you got
Mm-hmm.
all those guidelines. And then you've got, all the food situation, which I think people are waking up to the food situation more than almost anything else. Like they realize like there's GMOs and there's gross, nasty stuff in the food, and you just don't feel good eating that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's just having an overall conversation about what it is that we're doing to detach ourselves. And you kind of touched on it the other day where it's the mindset, you feel like you're making excuses all the time for why you can't do something.
Mm-hmm.
So that's step number one is stop saying that you can't or stop thinking that you can't do these things because it's not. I think we feel that way because it's not part of the programming.
Right.
So, um, but just some of the things that you've started to do to shift your mind or shift like you started doing your artworks again. So that's finding your joy in finding, I mean, because most adults now, like they don't do art. Or they do it as like a fun date night or something, right? But there's no outlet for creativity in any shape, form, or fashion.
No.
Mm. And you were telling me about that Michelangelo painting or whatever that y'all went to this weekend.
Oh my God. Yeah, we did. We went to that on Sunday. It was so funny. I've never, which is crazy to me because I'm an artist, but I've never really investigated um the Sistine Chapel. I've just, I've seen pictures here and there, but I've never really looked. You know what I mean? Never really looked at pictures closely. I've never really investigated anything about it.
Or you just accept what they tell you about the pictures, or like you were
Well,
saying, like now whoever it was blew up the pictures close up, right?
uh-huh.
So what did you
Yeah,
think?
so you can see them. You can see them close up. You can see, I mean, because at the Sistine Chapel, all of that artwork is up on the ceiling, and so it's 64 feet away
Yeah.
from you. So you can't see any details, not really, unless like you said, we've got binoculars or something. But even then, I don't know how much real detail you'd be able to see. So anyway, so they have them all, blown up, enlarged, and they're the way they've got it set up is You download their app and you scan the QR code. And then from there, every picture you go by that also has a QR code, and they give you headphones, and that'll play a little narration about the background of the painting as far as who it is, and then it'll talk a little bit about the artwork, and whoever it is that determined to, as far as the artwork part and that kind of thing, I don't think they know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
But within a couple of, I just was looking at just the first few of the paintings, and I knew Connie because Connie used to teach a class on it, and and she's physically been there 5 times, so she knows quite a bit about it. Um,
Yeah.
and I asked her, I was like, just curious. I was like, was Michelangelo a homosexual? And she was like, yeah. She was like, you didn't know that? I was like, no. She said, well, if you didn't know that, then what makes you think that he was? And I was like, well, I'm looking at these pictures of these women, these paintings of these women, and they have beautiful female faces, but their bodies are all muscly and ripped like a man, and the bodies look like men.
Maybe they like, oh my gosh, it's so funny. I never even thought about that.
I mean, no, they have a male. It is a male. So clearly, Michelangelo knows nothing or very little of the female anatomy because even the boobs, there was like one or two pictures where they were, well, Eve was naked, which she was really the only one that I would say would be accurately depicted.
Mm-hmm.
But there was one picture of this woman, and she's sitting there, and like her boobs are hanging out, and her nipples, in proportion to that woman, look like they're like 6 inches to 2 feet long.
Oh my
They're like
God.
very out of proportion.
Oh wow. So you had like, oh my gosh, some Salvador Dali or something thrown in there.
But this picture is like, now look like what women's boobs do normally. Well, I was not saying that it couldn't be, but
Oh, but that's so funny to
funny.
say. It's like all of these artworks or whatever. I don't know, just I think now like on YouTube, you see the information about Tartaria or all these other things where it's like you just notice that your surroundings don't match the narrative.
Right.
All of these
Well, and that was the
stories.
thing. Like, so I know in many of the artworks of that time, I do know this, that anytime, they were referring to God or they wanted to have a reference to God, um, if God wasn't in the actual painting or whatever, they frequently would have one of the figures pointing up
Yeah.
to indicate God, supposedly. I mean, that's what they say. I don't. I mean, I guess it's entirely possible, but I don't know how true that really is. Honestly, I think that's just somebody's guess. But um, especially in this particular situation, I could totally see that.
Yeah.
However, um, I'll have to send you. I'll send you the pictures. Like, so one, as an artist, and this is something that it was another observation when as Connie and I were talking. So as an artist, when I can look at anything and recreate it,
Yeah.
and I don't have to be in a specific headspace to do that.
Mhm.
But my best art pieces, the ones that I am most proud of and shock me, as well as how well they turn out, those ones are the ones that were created when I got into this headspace and was truly in connection with energy.
Mhm.
Like it's how do I explain? It's like
Well, people call it, like, getting in the zone or whatever, where it's like you
right.
kinda lose track of time, you don't g eat, you don't even go to the bathroom, you're just concentrating on this one task.
Well, and it's not even that you're concentrating. It's like it is. It's like you're in this zone and it's literally like everything, all of your surroundings disappear. Like you could be in a room like when I was painting that one painting that I love so much with the pretty blue sky and the mountains and stuff. Grace was there, and Grace is never quiet. So Grace was there. She was making noise. She was doing her thing. I think she was in her room and having one of her insanely loud concerts. So that was nuts. And then Rob was in the living room and he was watching TV. And so the TV was going and he was doing things. And then we had the animals and they were doing that stuff. When I got in that place, I could hear none of that. It's like it was complete silence, like I was in this bubble. I couldn't hear anything. Nobody was around me. It was just me. And it almost like the energy was just flowing through me.
Mhm.
And so as I'm looking at this artwork and things like that, one of the things that was brought up in the narration is that the paintings and everything are not done in order like the Bible has them.
Mhm.
They're all just kind of random all over the place.
Yeah.
But
Mm.
one of the other things that that they talk about in the narration, there are numerous paintings, and I'll send them to you, that are focus. The main person in the painting is a woman that's first and forefront
Mhm.
in the painting. The people that they're supposedly focusing on, which is not true if you actually look at the artwork, it's like the paintings are supposedly the focus is like certain kings, like oh gosh, like King David and some very important historical figures from the Bible, right?
Mhm.
But they are depicted in these pictures as children.
Hmm.
And then husbands are also, so it's always the husband, the child, and the mother. There's a couple of them where there's a second child, but the second child is always way in the background and kind of a shadow.
Hmm.
And the husbands, they are either sleeping or they're way in the back in the distance.
Hmm.
And let's see, they're either sleeping and then there's one where it's so muddled, you can just make out that there's a face there, but it's not even a clear, defined face.
And these are all pictures on the Sistine Chapel.
Yes.
So would you say, like, a majority of the pictures contain this woman or whatever, or
Well, I mean, it's not just one woman. They're all different women
Mhm.
that are focused, but the focus is the woman.
Hmm. Makes you
Not
wonder, like, what's been erased, the whole divine feminine
and
and
that's exactly where I was going. Exactly, because there are so many of those pictures on the Sistine Chapel, and I feel like these were done in a that divine connection with energy,
Mhm.
right? That he was in that zone and it was a download
Mhm.
that he was putting on the Sistine Chapel, that it wasn't of course, it was his skills and knowledge and things like that of how to paint, but I feel like it was a download, and those paintings, that there is a tremendous amount of history that has been erased, because if you are just paying attention, if you know nothing about anything in the Bible and you're just looking at the artwork,
Yeah.
the divine feminine is dominant.
Yeah.
Not only that, but those particular pictures, and those are all like, they're those ones are supposed to be family of, like Jesus lineage,
Mhm.
his family.
Yeah.
And every one of those, with those, where the women are forefront and they're the primary character in those paintings, everyone, there is a triangle there,
That's
and
the
it's
Trinity, and
triangle
that's what
shape.
people don't understand. It's Holy Mother, Holy Father, Holy Child.
Yep.
That
Yep.
is the Trinity. It's not Father, Son, Holy Spirit. I mean, hell, they turned the
Right.
female into a ghost.
Right, exactly. And so and that's exactly my point. And I brought that up to Connie because every one of them, they are in a triangle. And that triangle, it's pointing up,
Mhm.
as well as it's very detailed oriented. So it's like, it looks like really intricate moldings,
Mhm.
like they did back then with all the pretty like shells and all that stuff, but it's all painted. But every single one of those women is encased in that very detailed, ornate molding frame in a triangle.
That's crazy.
And I was like, that is the divine feminine right there. And Connie was like, she said, I've seen this so many times. And she's like,
Made the
had
connection.
never occurred to me. I never made that connection. And she said, but you're an artist and I am not.
Hmm.
So it makes sense that you would see that the same thing, with the male and the female. It's very clear that because all of those women, except for Eve was the only one. And so I feel like for Eve, that it's possible that he maybe did some research, you know what I mean,
Or
on the female anatomy,
or there was
you
like a
know,
replica or something. I mean, who knows?
something to for him, because all of the other women looked like men.
That's so weird.
I know. It was creepy.
See,
It
and
did
it's
not look
things
it
like,
didn't look right.
oh my gosh. It's things like that. Just starting to notice your surroundings and like really look. I mean, I ask people, I'm like, have you really read the Bible? Like, really?
Right.
Uh, you couldn't have half of these beliefs if you actually read it word for word.
No.
Mhm. I mean,
And that's what I've noticed more, and the more I the more things go on, if I'm really paying attention, I see those things. And that's
yeah,
something that I've always, even as a little kid, I've always seen things differently from most people.
yeah. Well, I mean, that's part of the waking up process, right?
Hmm. Absolutely.
But just being, that's the step of breaking free. You just notice that things are not how they're even told to you. It's like so
Right.
many people sit in a church and they're told all these things and it's like go look at that chapter and verse seriously. Like don't
Hmm.
take just the synopsis, read the whole thing, read that whole chapter. I just don't think that people have ever seen things with their own eyes. They just take things secondhand,
Yeah.
just like social media now or whatever it is, they're they
Well,
are told what to think, what to believe, how to feel.
right. Well, and that's what's happening when people go to church and the priest or the pastor or whoever, they're telling people what their interpretation is.
Mhm,
It's not each individual's interpretation. And I think that is what makes the Bible the Bible, because the same scripture can mean something different for every single individual that reads it.
mhm, and it's
If
not just
I feel
those
like
books.
if they're connected to source,
Mhm. Well, and that's the thing too, is, like, it's not just this one book that men happen to put together. It's like, go and research, go,
right?
seek things out, and, my mom right now, she's trying to figure things out. It happens at the end of life, right? But there's so many other books and other things to research. Like, why are you narrowing
Right.
yourself to just one
Just
book?
that.
I mean, that
Yeah.
right there is narrowing your mind. I mean, Jesus said, "I am the truth and the way and the light." The truth is, what is it? You're taking somebody's word for it,
Right.
and it's somebody, like you said, it's somebody else's interpretation, not.
Right. Well,
um,
and even in the scripture itself, there is a verse that says, question everything.
yeah,
Question everything. Well, how can you question anything if you aren't seeking other knowledge and looking outside and discovering different things, reading different things, and then putting that up against truth?
yeah, everybody's own version of their own truth, right?
Yeah,
My gosh,
right.
yeah, I agree.
So it was funny because we just we both, we were listening to the narratives and it was like, oh, that's such a bunch of horse shit.
Yeah.
So we started coming up with our own narration.
Oh my god. That's the funny thing too. Oh my gosh, you should go back through and just, like, re-record it and be like, "This is Lorelai's version."
And that's funny because that's exactly what I told Connie I was going to do. That's
Mhm.
exactly what I told her I was gonna do. So one of the funniest ones was like, so there's two different pictures, right? The one, the creation of Adam, and then the other creation of Eve, right?
Yeah.
At least that's what they call it. That's not what the picture depicts. Because in the picture within here,
Yeah.
it's in the picture of the creation of Adam, and this is the one that's so famous that everybody sees, and you see it like on pick mugs and all kinds of stuff. So, okay, so it's the famous one where God is reaching out and Adam is reaching out and their
Oh, yeah.
fingers are almost touching, that
Mhm.
one.
Yeah.
Okay, well, so if you look at the picture closely, and these are just my observations, so definitely look. But so it gives the appearance, that God is moving in. So there's indication of movement that he's moving and rushing to Adam, right? And reaching out. He's physically reaching out to get touch Adam. Where Adam, on the other hand, looks like this, he's like lounging back, just la la la, just and he doesn't even put the same effort to reach for God. He's just has his wrist, slightly bent and is just like, you know, oh yeah, come to me. I'm not gonna put any more effort than this kind of thing, like
That sounds like humanity though, doesn't it?
right, exactly. And so so Connie goes, she's like, so the way it looks to me, she's like, God's reaching. I'm going, oh, my little baby boy, my little ghosty, musty, ghosty mama. What is my little boy? And he's like, oh, daddy, come and get me because I just can't do it by myself.
Oh my gosh. So what is the one that says creation of Eve? Look, what do you think?
Right, and then the one with the creation of Eve. So, there was a very like, all of the pictures, they're all nude and things like that, and the poor guys, their little penises they're it's itty bitty, and it's like, dear God, those poor men.
Maybe they were all cold. Maybe it was cold back then.
And in this picture in particular, it's like Connie goes, "Oh my gosh, he's got like some little raisinets. There's not much of anything there." And so I couldn't help it. I was looking at Eve and I was like, "Well, this doesn't look like a depiction of her creation. It looks like she's reaching out and like her hands, are exactly side by side. So you can't really see the other side, the other hand. You just see like the indication of a shadow that the other hand is there. And I spread my hands about 9 inches apart. And I said, this is what she's saying. She's like, oh God, if you're going to make me put up with this lazy crap and I have to take care of him and do all of this stuff, would you at least please give me at least 6 to 9 inches? Please at least make it enjoyable.
Oh my God, that needs to
and
go on
God
every card now.
and God is going, well, Eve, you know, it's a little clay, it's a little bone. I guess I could add a couple more inches, but you're just gonna have to deal with the uncircumcised thing. Are you okay with that?
Oh my God, so you guys had a ball. Oh my
Oh, we
God.
were we were howling. And I'm sure we pissed some people. I know we got some really dirty looks from probably some very religious people,
Oh,
but
I'm sure. Always the religious
we
people.
were oh yeah, we were so rolling. We were we were rolling. And then there were some women that were like they would laugh, they would kind of giggle under their I told Connie, I was like, we're going to hell. We're going to hell. We're talking bad about but oh my gosh, it was an absolute riot. We had so much more fun narrating everything on
Oh my gosh. Oh,
Yeah, it was fantastic.
that's
But
awesome.
there again, these pictures don't depict. If you're looking at the picture,
Yeah.
Eve looks like she is pleading with God.
Yeah.
Like, please don't do this to me. Please don't. I don't want to do this. I don't want to take care of his lazy butt. Look at him. He's sleeping. He
Oh my
didn't he didn't
gosh.
care about anybody else.
Maybe it
Don't
wasn't
don't make
Eve.
me do this.
Maybe it
Huh?
wasn't Eve. Maybe he drew Lilith
I don't know.
because Lilith
How
didn't
about
stay. Lilith was Adam's first wife and she
maybe
refused.
right. Maybe and that's very well what it may be. And it's God going, are you absolutely sure? Are you sure
Yeah.
that you don't want to stay? And she's like, please take me away.
Yeah. That's
So it
crazy.
may not even be Eve, but that's just the assumption that was made. And it's like you if you look at if you just look, if you're opening your eyes and you just look without knowing anything. That's why I loved that I've never researched these paintings before, that I knew
Yeah.
nothing because I was literally going in blind.
Yeah.
Other than I have seen, the famous one of the creation of Adam, I've never really looked at it
Yeah.
super closely and dissected it. But there wasn't a single one of those narrations that they came up with that there
Looked like,
was any real truth to.
yeah.
It's just what somebody decided that's what it was. But
And then kept
I
telling
don't think,
people. And then that became accepted.
yep.
Oh my gosh.
And I don't think a lot of that was the case. I
I don't know. We just went way off into left field with all this, didn't we?
I know we did. But that's
Good
usually how our
times.
conversations go, the good ones anyway.
Mhm. Oh gosh, now I'm gonna have to go look. Well, I should really say that after all this, now I'm gonna have to go see for myself. I'll have to go look at all of the paintings. Anyway, okay.
Cool, cool.
All
So that
right.
was all you wanted to talk about?
Well, for the moment, we'll do another session later.
All right. Sounds amazing. I
Okay.
will talk to you later.